Grady, welcome to Mint. How are you doing, my friend? Thank you for being on.
Could we
I
do it
know.
again? No, let's do it. Let's do another start. I'm nervous now. Now that I know that the clock is ticking, I was comfortable before, but now I think the light,
Bro, now
everything
you're in it.
the lights are on. Like Ellen DeGeneres has started rolling.
Dude, this is fucking bigger than Ellen DeGeneres. Let's get that straight. All right. Ready?
Okay, let's do it.
Grady, welcome to Mint. How you doing? Where'd you go?
3,
2, 1.
1, action.
Grady, welcome to Mint. How are you doing, my friend? Oh, there you are.
Thanks for having me, Adam.
Yeah, hey, good
Wow, what a
shit.
treat.
Now we cue the studio audience and bah, 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 and you have
Do you
all
have
these different sound effects. Yes.
Do you have like a backing track and everything?
No, but I'll clap for you right now. How about that?
I can make you one.
Right now, live?
I feel like that would be a poor utilization of our time together, but yeah, for sure.
Maybe
If you
I'll
want
do
this
it.
to be like a Kenny Beats like beat tutorial, yeah, we could rip it. Should I just screen share?
Dude, we should do that a different time, but send me some type of audio and I'll likely put it in. How are
Okay.
you doing, man? Welcome to the podcast. Thank you for being on. What's going on? How are you feeling? How's your state of mind? Walk me through what's going on.
State of mind is man. Electric is the best single word to define the beginning of this year. It's been like I feel like the last few months of last year were leading into really activating in the beginning of this one. And it's interesting. Like I have a very clear idea of what the next 6 months of my life looked like. And then after that, it really just depends on how those different things
Yeah.
go. So it's exciting. It's like I feel simultaneously like very secure and also very open to the universe and like whatever's coming next. Cause I can't know for certain exactly how big each of those branches is going to grow,
Yeah.
so
So for starters, for those who don't know who Grady is, okay, which is hard to believe. We'll throw that out there. Give us a quick intro on yourself, okay? Tell me like who are you? Where are you from? And more specifically, how'd you get into crypto?
I'm from Santa Barbara, a little bit north of LA. I moved down here when I was 19 to do some music with my boys. And yeah, I had a band for a few years, and then I started producing and writing for other artists, and that led to me going, why aren't I just doing this for myself too? And started a solo project. And then I got into crypto. Got into crypto. I don't know why that that sentence just is so silly. It sounds so like elementary level. What's the professional way to say that I got into crypto? I aped in.
I aped
Is
in.
that
I bought my first Bitcoin, something like that.
Oh, I probably bought my first portion of a Bitcoin in like 2019.
Cool.
But I didn't really actually like step into the rabbit hole that I threw some pennies into until like 2021, really. It started like percolating around my ears in 2020. But I was so consumed by what I was doing at the time that I just didn't really allocate any
Mhm.
to it. But then, like around this time last year, like altcoins were just like going bananas, and it was like this crazy thing that I had no idea was underneath the surface
Yeah.
of like the Bitcoin. I don't even think like NFTs were mainstream yet. It was
Mm.
like DeFi altcoins were like the
The hot
thing.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought it was super silly and like a fun way to create buzz, and so I started like just asking like, hey, I need as much information as possible about this stuff. And Cooper had been following me for a few years. We met at a concert that he was going. My friend that I was doing an album with,
Mhm.
um, was performing in San Francisco, and Cooper was there. And like when I was walking in, he was like, "Hey, you're Grady," and 2 years later, that led to him coming over to my house and like basically telling me not to start a DeFi altcoin. And I was like, I love your suggestion, but I'm gonna do it anyway. And it was insane. Like it was such a roller coaster. And just because of the hype that it generated, it really made me realize that people were ready to give it a shot, regardless of the outcome. I think it was such a risk intensive uh, sector of the internet that a lot of people were just aping in and seeing what came out the other side. And so you saw a lot of these like crazy experiments and rapid, evolution of what people were paying attention to.
Mhm.
And when that started simmering down, Cooper asked me to meet his friend Daniel Allen, and the way that he worded it was so funny. Like Cooper's just so humble and like is so bad at like putting things on aggressively that he was like, "You'd be doing me such a big favor, dude. Like just meet up with him, please. Like I'll owe you so big time." And like I thought that he was just gonna be like a really whack producer. And then I met him and like everything he played me was just mind blowing. And he was just such a cool kid and was already like tapped into catalog. And so then I tapped into catalog and
Mm.
started selling uh like the records that didn't make my album that came out last year, the Love Umbrella.
Mhm.
Um because they weren't gonna have a place to like be exposed for at least like 6 months. And I was like, well, this is like a cool opportunity to maybe like give this to a specific group of people that are like Web3 savvy. Um, and because of that, I started just meeting like all these epic people that were trying so hard to like push the envelope of Web3 music and
Mhm.
music NFTs. Um, like Blockchain Brett, John Itzler, like the Patrick and everybody at Mirror, everybody at Catalog with Jeremy and all of them. Like, and the one thing that that was consistent with all those people was like just really wanting to extend a handout as far as possible because there were so few artists that were trying to tap in at the time that everyone was just so willing to help. And like I'd be on the phone for hours doing such like menial tasks with Cooper that I know he'd done like hundreds of times, like onboarding people. And like he was just super helpful. Everyone was always so helpful, like helping me set up like multi-sig wallets and all these things that I just didn't know about.
Yeah.
Um, that yeah, man, I there's so many people I want to thank for being such an essential part of my onboarding into the space. Like I literally would not have been able to do anything that I'm doing without these people. Like near Cabessa, um God, yeah, I mean that it's I
There's a
can't
list.
even start
Yeah.
naming. It's
Yeah.
like it would be like a Grammy speech, where it's
Yeah.
like, fuck, like where do I stop? That it's like everybody that I've encountered in the space has been nothing but helpful, and it's really motivated me to do the same thing, and that's where Good Karma really came from. Was I was like, damn, I'm like really doing well in this space, and like I know that this space really roots for the underdog more than anybody else. Like they'd rather see a kid come from nothing and start popping off in Web3 than like someone that's already established. And
Yeah.
I was like, so many of my friends are like, working Postmates jobs, doing jobs that like aren't full-time music when I knew that was what they should be doing. They're like my favorite artists in the world. And so I thought, what better way to do that than expose them to the space and also expose me to artists that I've never heard of through a community project. And so
Yeah.
that's where Good Karma Records
So
came
let's
from.
let's break apart this entire intro for a minute, okay? You mentioned the Love Umbrella, you mentioned Good Karma DAO, you mentioned in the beginning, you moving down from SB to LA to make music. can we start really quick from there? So who, like, if people aren't familiar with your style, okay, how would you explain your genre? And maybe list some of the songs that you've created that may be more well known than others that you find more enjoyable that you have worked on. Give me some more context on the music side of things, just for everybody that's listening. And then I want to also talk about Good Karma DAO, but we'll get to all that in just a minute. So more on the music side. So for those who don't know you.
Yeah, for sure. Favorite songs that I've made. I don't know. There's records that like they were cool moments for
Mhm.
sure. And like have stuck with me and motivated me or like um you know, gotten me excited about the different genres that I do. Cause like Grady as an artist, like the Grady music is very different than like a lot of the shit that I've done for other people. I did a record last year for Ty Dolla Sign and Jack Harlow and 24K Golden for Fast and Furious movie. I've done shit with Drew and Alex from Chainsmokers and they did a record with Kygo that I worked on. Um, I feel like I've done most like genres of pop. Um, I'd love to get into country. I
Really?
love making country music. Um, I just feel like it's gate kept pretty hardcore as far as like actually making hits in the space. But yeah, I get a lot of joy out of making those records just because like they're so is what it is. You know what I mean? Like country music is so cool to me just because like it's not embellished in any way. And like it is very easy to like break down what it's about.
Mhm.
And when you do, and I compare it to other, iterations of pop, I'm like, well, rappers are mostly singing about money and girls,
Right.
you know, like girl pop stars are usually singing about heartbreak,
Mhm.
and guy pop stars are usually singing about like trying to get a girl. And it's like, okay, those three things like kind of excite me, I guess, and like I relate to that. But like, what about like being on a boat with my friends, like drinking a beer and just like listening to music? Like the fact that that's like what that genre is about is just so epic. Like they're just like, yeah, I just like being on a boat, fishing, doing lake stuff, drinking beer, and listening to music with my friends. And I'm like, yeah, I relate to that. That's fucking sick. Like, why wouldn't we want to listen to that? It's good energy, you know?
All right, so the next album,
Yeah.
is gonna be all country. That's what's gonna be on chain, right? You're gonna tokenize a country album by Grady.
I mean, ironically, it is the closest thing to country that I've ever done.
Okay,
Cherry is very much a like folk leaning
okay.
album.
Which, by the way, gives off the vibe just looking at the imagery and how you kinda position the whole look and feel of the entire, crowdfund on Mirror. So, okay, talking
There's
about your
just so
music.
many things to talk about. Where do we
I
go?
know. And you've honestly done a lot in your career too, so I wanna
Sorry
find the
about the
best way.
sniffles.
No, it's good, it adds an extra
I'll give you
touch.
a good ASMR one right now. Ready?
Go. Ah, yes. Yes.
Yeah?
Amazing.
Yeah,
Okay, that's gonna be your intro.
it's fine. It's fine.
Okay, so Good Karma DAO, okay? What is Good Karma DAO? You brought that up a little bit in your discussion, which full disclosure, I'm in Good Karma DAO. I don't have the tokens. I missed that. So when are you guys going to do another sale for me to buy selfishly? But I've been attending. I attended the first show. Okay, saw you perform. I love the vibes that all of Good Karma DAO kind of pushes out. Tell me about the birth of Good Karma DAO, what the goal is, why you're doing it, even these showcases that you put up every month. Give me the spiel. What is it?
Sure. Yeah. Um, Good Karma DAO is the name that we're running with right now. That is an umbrella of different projects that will be released over the next few years. First one being Good Karma Records, which is a decentralized music label that we have, I think, 87 members right now. We did a raise for 20 ETH in October and had 87 backers with a cap of 0.2 because I wanted to make sure that um, we had an established, a breadth of people instead of just like a few heavy hitters. Would kind of defeat the purpose of it being decentralized. So we launched that, and for the last few months have been basically setting up the infrastructure, locking down the studio, locking down the offices, locking down all the equipment required to like give artists that don't have those resources a space to be developing themselves and developing their sound. And so we're actually like in the process of signing our first 2 artists right now. We've gotten their contracts over to them. We've been back and forth negotiating, and we'll be presenting it to the DAO in this next week.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
So how do you
and
actually get involved? How do you become a member and an artist in Good Karma DAO?
so right now, we're actually, oh, actually, it closed yesterday, but we did a roll call to see how many people were looking to buy in and how much they wanted to buy in for the next 5% of our token supply, because we've only allocated 20% so far. We're doing it in batches so that we can continue to get
Mhm.
more and more people in. So right now, I think in the next few days I have to check with the team, but there should be a link for you to be able to exchange ETH for Karma.
Okay. Got it. Got
Yeah.
it. So the way the decentralized record label is set up, okay, how does scouting work? How does placement work? How does
Mhm.
all these other components that a traditional label would have otherwise done, how does this now get mimicked in a decentralized fashion?
Yeah. Good question. A lot of the like setup of a label is the exact same. The biggest differences are that instead of like 1 or 2 people making the decisions, as far as like where the money goes and who gets onboarded, and like just the biggest decisions of a label are made by an entire community of passionate music lovers instead of just a few people on top of a
Yeah.
corporation.
Got it. Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So, Good Karma DAO, these showcases that you put on every single month, all the members that you guys put in and give a spot to perform, are they in the DAO? Are they artists of the DAO?
Um, Not every time, no. So it's pretty much always independent artists. Every now and then we'll
Okay,
have an artist come on that we just love, but for the most part, it's independent artists, and it's mostly artists that we are interested in signing to the label DAO.
got it. Okay,
Yeah,
makes sense. Let's talk about recap quickly the love umbrella.
but
Okay.
you wait
Yeah.
before we go there.
Yeah.
You went to the first one, right, in
Yeah.
December.
Yeah.
How was that?
Honestly, I haven't been out to a live performance in a long time. It's been a
Okay.
minute. It was so exhilarating. It was so like heartwarming. I felt I felt like I could finally disconnect from work for a minute and just enjoy myself and be present. Which if you ask people around me, um, I really love what I do, okay? And I feel like I'm online a lot, right? And you see the drums behind me, okay? And I feel like ever since I got
Are
into
you a drummer?
crypto, I am a drummer. Yes. I've been playing since like 5 years old, okay? From everything like rock, funk, jazz,
Love
R&B,
it.
gospel, like all that stuff, okay?
Yeah.
And I feel like ever since I got into crypto, my like passion for music hasn't died down, rather has become little faint, and my energy has shifted towards this digital economy, whatever you want to freaking call Web3. Okay. And being at that showcase, being at the performance, I don't even know how to, it was amazing. I really had a good time. I'll give it to you. It was really good. And Grady, I'll tell you this too, bro. Watching you perform, that was the first time I saw you perform. Me and my friend Joey, we both looked at each other and like, wow, this guy's a fucking superstar. Like, what the hell? We were honestly like super impressed, and the way you were able to move an entire audience. And the intention is not to fangirl, like not to be like such a whatever right now, but just to give you credit where credit's deserved. It was really well done. It was
Thank
really
you.
well done.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I've been performing for a long time. I think what really impressed me was the energy from some of these artists that have done either no shows or like less than 5. And then also th- I I I I was expecting the energy to be electric, but I really I really was astounded when I was standing on stage watching some of these guys perform, just how connected everybody was, because most people in the audience hadn't heard of a lot of these artists before, you know?
Yeah.
And the fact that the entire room was moved, to that degree, strictly off of the vibe right there and then, instead of like the nostalgia of being excited about the records that because a lot of time that's what hypes you out. But seeing how connected people were with that moment, was it was like, it was very proving to me that we were onto something cool for
So check
sure.
this out. So it wasn't so those for those who weren't there, it wasn't just live performances. There were dancers, right?
Oh
There was
yeah,
a bar, right? There was all these different characters and individuals from all different backgrounds there that all like came under the roof of somewhat of crypto, of like-mindedness of Web3 to some extent. Um, it was really cool, and I'm really excited to see what Good Karma DAO kind of pushes out next. I know you guys have
yeah,
a showcase coming out at the end of the month. Was it January 30th or something?
the 20th, yeah,
The 20th. Okay, so in 10 days from now, we're recording on the 10th.
yeah. We're
So
announcing some other really cool things that we're doing at the beginning of February as well, and
cool,
end of January.
cool. Yeah, dude, epic. I love what it stands for. I want to buy in, which I probably shouldn't say that on on the recording. So this is not investment advice. I'm just a musician. I love this stuff. I align with it, and I love where your guys' heads are at. So,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
yeah,
I think it's really like, if you're interested in being a part of the decision making skills, or the decision making that is traditionally present in a label, then it's a great place to be.
yeah,
Um, there's so much going on in the next few months for this sect of Good Karma, that I'm so excited. And there's so many incredible people working full time on it now, that like, I've never been so confident in something that I've surrendered entire control of, you know?
hmm,
Um, I feel really confident about the people that we have building this with me. So
yeah,
I'm excited to see where it goes. And like I said, like, it's so weird to try to envision what, 8 months from now looks like, because there's so much that we're building that I just don't even know where my time is going to be best allocated,
yeah,
and
yeah.
where it's going to be um, supplemented by other people that are more competent in doing the things.
Yeah. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. And again, I guess for full transparency, like, sure, I'm excited about it, right? Sure, I want to be a supporter, but by no means does that mean anybody else should be a part of it, right? So I think I need to say that so I don't get shat on in the
Well,
comments
yeah, I mean,
or
it's
anything, right?
it's just like anything else. It's like, don't join a football club if you don't like football. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Like this is for a specific group of people. Which, to me, it's like, do you like music, and do you like to see people come up? Do you like to like be in literally invested in the artist that you believe in? Then this is a cool place to be. And
Yeah.
and that to me is everyone that I know. Like, I don't know a single person that wouldn't want to like be on the ground floor of an artist, and know that they are actually a part of this person's journey, and they have vested interest in them.
Yeah.
Because as
Yeah.
as they blow up, that's actually the main thing that we're doing um at Good Karma Records, like, for artists, is helping them develop their social tokens, so that they don't need us or anyone. That all they need is their own community. So
Yeah.
we're like a community curation community, you know.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah,
Um,
makes a lot
so
of
we'll be
sense.
doing that. We'll be doing that for artists that we don't even sign. It's just helping them build their Web3 social presence.
So for the artists that are listening to this right now, okay, how do they get involved? How do they jump
In
in?
what
How
in
do
what
they if they want
capacity?
your support, how do they do that?
Um, I mean, it's just like any other Web3 project.
Just join the
Introduce yourself.
Discord, come
Yeah,
in,
introduce
make
yourself in the
yourself
Discord.
okay,
Introduce yourself in the Telegram. There's very specific chat channels and channels to get your stuff listened to, and find collaborators. We have, like, producers, mixing engineers, A&Rs, eh, basically anyone in music that you can find through that Discord.
cool.
Um, but yeah, I mean, dude, there's so many there's just so many places to look now.
Yeah,
Um, but it is a good hub. There's so many talented people that have tapped in, and it feels like there's just more every day. So yeah, if you're an artist and you're interested in getting more involved in Web3, not even necessarily with Good Karma, come check out Good Karma, because we'll help you out regardless of whether or not want to sign you. I just want to see more kids getting their presence in Web3 solidified, because like I really do believe that it's going to change the music industry. It already has.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I love it. All right. The Love Umbrella. Okay. First of all, I listened to that. Okay. It was very theatrical. It was very different than any other thing I've come across, especially the introduction. And it's hard to put
Oh,
into
come
words
on.
on the
Don't
yeah.
say that.
It's hard to put into words like on the podcast. And that's why I was so pissed that I missed the actual like crowd fund. Because I was also on the phone with Cooper right before it happened. He was like, yo, check
Are you
this
talking
thing
about the
out.
party bed?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah. And he's like, check this thing out. And I was like, okay, yeah, cool, I'll do it. He sent me the link. And I was like, I fucking forgot to do it. But whatever. The Love Umbrella. Was that your first piece on chain?
No, it wasn't. Let me confirm it was the third piece though.
The third
So
piece.
the first thing that I put out and the second thing were two records off of the Love Umbrella that didn't make the final cut of the album. Because I
Okay.
wrote like over 40 songs for the Love Umbrella, and just as far as sequencing went, it got boiled down to 19, and then I had all these records left over that I'm like, these are awesome, and I'm doing a deluxe edition and like putting it out on vinyl, and re-releasing the album. But in the meantime, I'm like, why not just put out some records exclusive to Web3? Because I think that separation is also cool. I've been able to like push new records in the space that I wouldn't otherwise like have time in the timeline of my music on like DSPs for.
Hmm.
So it's been super exciting to be able to expose,
Got it. Yeah.
like the future records early in that
Yeah.
space,
Super
because it
cool.
is the future.
It is the future. Bow. It is the future. I do agree with you.
I wonder how
Now,
many people watching this are going to be sick of me like popping my eardrums over and over.
honestly, I think it adds to the entire experience of Grady.
It's not, but it's not the Grady experience. This is just the cold Grady experience. I just
Are you
got,
sick? Are you feeling it?
yeah. What do you
Okay.
mean? You can't feel
I don't know. I
the
thought this is
presence?
part of the act. This is part of the showcase, the part of the performance that you're putting on. Got it.
No, honestly, I'd rather have COVID, because then I like
Then you have an
would at least have an
excuse.
excuse,
Yeah.
I just
But
have a
now it's
cold. I have a sore throat. I woke up with a
oh,
cough.
loser. Freaking
Yeah.
loser. God
Yeah.
damn.
It's funny how like this is probably worse than the current strain of COVID, like symptomatically. And like it's funny that people are more terrified of COVID than this, because this sucks. Like, this really sucks. I am powering through for you, Adam. I want you to know this is a labor of
Dude,
love.
power through for me and introduce Cherry. Okay. What's up, guys? Adam Levy here. I wanted to take a quick pause to give some love to Coinvise, our NFT sponsor who's making this episode a reality. On Coinvise, you can create a personal or community-owned social token on Ethereum. Coinvise also helps you create incentives through token rewards and bounties, NFT business models, and bot integrations for Discord. Discover more by visiting coinvise.co today. All right, back to the episode. Talk to me
Okay.
about Cherry. This is the latest project that you're working on, okay? And again, full disclosure, I've contributed to this because I'm a fan, okay, and I'm excited to see what you do. And you mentioned earlier that this is the closest thing that represents somewhat of a genre to country or folk music, right? And I said earlier how the graphics kind of mimic that type of look and feel. But tell me, what
Yeah.
is the idea behind Cherry, and why call it Cherry?
Well, it's called Cherry for just a specific reason. Let's edit that out. I'll tell you why it's called Cherry.
Okay.
Um, it's called Cherry because the girl that kind of got the ball rolling for me to start making the album had a cherry tattoo and always wore these cherry earrings. And so it was just kind of a little homage to her. Even though the project ended up evolving into more of an exploration of like my inner self and um the girl that the Love Umbrella was about. It all started because of her, and also like the first record on the album that's coming out in a few weeks, Jersey. Um, feels the most like the album to me. Like it kind of walks in representing what I wanted the album to feel like throughout. And that's just very cut and dry and soft um and bare. And that's why I wanted it to. If you go look at the graphics, I'm collaborating with my friend Kate. Her artist name is the Ghost Cat. She's a incredible artist and tattoo artist, and she gave me this one, which is actually one of the.
Mm.
Can I
Wait, let me see. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, we see that.
Yeah, she's slick with the fine lines. This is actually a piece for the album.
Got it.
And so Kate and I have been spending like pretty much all of our time together for the last few weeks. There we go. Yeah, that's on my arm. Look at that guy. He's so cute.
Is that you? Did you say that was
Sure.
you?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. It's anyone though. And I think
Okay.
that's there's no face, you know.
Yeah.
And there's probably not going to be much of faces throughout the project. I mean, like, this is. It's so funny. You always want to say it's like your best and like your coolest work, but
Mhm.
I don't know. The Love Umbrella is like infinitely more electric. This album is very confidently, I can say, the most cathartic project that I've made.
Mhm.
And the thing that has felt like the most genuine medicine of anything. Oh, we're at 38 backers. Let's go.
Let's
Gang,
go.
gang.
Gang.
Um,
Love it.
so basically what this crowdfund is for, is because I'm an independent artist, like trying to continue to like show what can be done for other independent
Yeah.
artists. Um, Shouts out to Daniel Allen, of course, for getting that ball rolling. But yeah, I wanted to think of new ways to like get the community engaged that like is a fan of me and is supporting um my music, to like be a part of the process of kind of defining and shaping this album. And obviously, like, I'm never going to take any sort of criticism on the music. That's something that I will do on my own from start to finish. Aside from listening parties and like making sure that it all scans well.
Mhm.
But yeah, for at least for this project, like it was very definitively like I had to be the one to make all the music. But I wanted to get the community involved in new ways. And so when we started making all the art for it, I thought, oh, this could be a cool idea. What if the community that's backing this with me is playing a part in deciding how we represent each album, because I'm going to be putting out each song as an individual NFT. And so all of them are going to need
Mhm.
artwork, single artwork. And so Kate's been absolutely crushing it, making a whole bunch of stuff around what she feels when she listens to each song. And I told you I'm sick. Um, and I have in my head what I think works for each record, and she has in her head what works for each record. But we just wanted to get other ears on the project to see how they felt when they experienced it prior to it coming out, and develop like a closeness with the people that are making this album come to life. And also having vested interest. 20% of like all the sales are going back into the token supply. So
Epic.
as the album gets sold and resold over the years, that just continues to compound for
So
everyone that
that
supported.
goes through the as you coined it, the Who Invited Grady DAO,
Yeah,
right? So
name
can you
pending.
name pending? Boy, I think
Yeah,
that's actually a cool name. And
I
for
just like
those
concise names. I love concise names. So many syllables.
I think it speaks for itself, okay? But what's the goal behind? So you wrote so that's why along with the creation of Cherry, I will be establishing Who Invited Grady, a DAO to represent all past, present, and future Grady projects, musical and beyond. Okay.
Yeah.
What does that beyond entail? Beyond music? Like what do you imagine that experience kind of unfolding into What should collectors expect? Like, why should we get into it beyond betting on you?
For sure. Beyond betting on me, I don't know, because as it says, it is just all things that are an extension of me. I just know myself well enough to know that I'm not going to stay exclusively in music forever. Um,
Okay.
and have already been designing outside of it and developing outside of it, with the other projects I've been working on for like the last year. Um, and so yeah, it's more of like a take my hand if you're interested in seeing where this thing goes, because I don't know. It's like I just said, I really don't know what 7 months from now looks like. There's so many things that I'm working on that I kind of want to do it together and see what what makes sense for us, because I've spent so much time alone making art, and I've found that it's good for getting ideas off the ground, or for incepting them, for planting the seeds. But once the seeds are in the ground, it really does take a village to water it. And
Yeah.
and so, I want to with everybody continue to expose them to the things that I'm thinking of and the projects that I'm working on, and what I think could exist, and getting the green light from everybody else, on where we can devote energy collectively. Because I know that I'm always going to follow my heart and try to do that without um without interference. But that being said, like, wherever that thing goes, I want to have people along for, and I'm excited to be starting that with Cherry, because this is such a personal project for me.
Yeah.
Um, and whatever leftover funds we have after we've made all the music videos and all the assets for it, and the website that is going to be so epic, um, we're also just going to be getting other artists involved in Web3. That's something that, like, I've found incredibly rewarding, is being able to, like, buy an artist's first NFT.
Hmm.
I've been collecting my friend's work for, like, basically, like, since I started selling work, in Web3. And so, like, continuing to have that synergetic relationship, with the community of artists is important to
Yeah.
me.
Let me ask you this, Grady. What do you think the future of music looks like in the world of Web3?
um,
And by
I
the way,
think
it's such a broad question. It's such a general question too, so you can take it from whatever angle you want. But
no, I
I
mean,
think you bring in a unique point of view to this.
cool. I think the way that I feel about it probably isn't the way that a lot of artists right now feel about it. But I realized probably like 5 months ago that music was probably going to get to a place where it was free to listen to. That just makes the most sense as a metric. Um, and there's people that are developing ways to continue to add value for artists. Catalog was really one of the first. Audius being another. But I got involved with David Greenstein, to develop Sound XYZ, um, probably like 5 months ago, and I think it's the most promising setup that I've seen so far, because the buy-in cost is low enough that you can get a whole bunch of fans engaged, and feeling a part of a song, but also getting artists paid. Because the way that I see it is, we're continuing to have, like, a greater and greater disparity, of wealth, and I've always felt that gatekeeping art in any way just isn't kosher. It's not what I want. Um, I would prefer to have music be free, but be cherished and be valued and appreciated. Um, I think that all these incredible sales, like me selling the Love Umbrella, like Halik selling his project, all these artists selling their work, I think is really telling of the importance of finding real supporters of your work. Because it in the current setup, like, you can have literally hundreds of thousands or millions of fans and still not be living off of your work, and that to me is fucking insane. When we can have 100 fans in Web3 and be full-time musicians.
Mhm.
So if you take that and you spread that out farther and farther, I think that you're going to see that every artist will agree that being able to listen to music for free makes the most sense, and being able to be a part of that artist's trajectory and journey and actually invest in them is what makes the most sense, because we all are companies. All musicians are companies. You know what I mean? Like you are a company. You are an individual with other individuals working for your identity, for your brand, and your product is your music and your merch and all this shit. Now NFTs are just another thing, right? It's another thing that people can purchase, but this time you're adding like actual connection to your brand. They are investing in you as a brand. And so I think having that availability is what's going to redefine the music industry. I don't see streaming services lasting in the way that they are currently for more than 10 years.
Mm. From that tangent, okay, what are the parallels between the music industry and the crypto industry?
It's a good question. Well, it depends what sect of each you're talking about. I think as far as like culturally relevant things, it's pretty top heavy. And there's a lot of people making decisions and kind of guiding the ship that maybe shouldn't be. I think the the relationship between the music industry and the crypto industry are like they kind of have the ability to flip each other on their sides, because music has a shit ton of culture. Music defines culture, you know, and crypto has a whole bunch of commodity. It has a whole bunch of future shaping. And so right now you have all these incredible DAOs popping up, all these crazy ideas that people are just aping into because it's exciting and it's new and it's fresh. And now you have, you know, fucking thousands of people that almost bought the Declaration of Independence, you know, and it's like now everyone's just kind of hive minding around these crazy concepts and new like ideas that may or may not work, but who gives a shit, because we're in it together and it's fun and it's new and no one's done it before. But now you have, you know, a group of people that used to be a few people making decisions, and now it's like a whole bunch of kids in their you know, in their bedroom are competing with like like the richest people in the world on bidding wars and Sotheby's. Like, that's insane, you know. And if you take that and you apply it to musicians and artists, and realize that every good artist has the ability to have that, you know, fever pitch excitement around their project. It's just about finding those fans, getting them to be a part of your journey, and having you grow together with them, you know. So that's why Good Karma Records made so much sense to me. I was like, why wouldn't a label be owned by the people that support the artists? You know, why wouldn't the artists also have equity in that label? All of our artists get equity in Good Karma as well. And like those things just make the most sense. You know, if you think about it from like the fans are the ones that are buying the tickets, and they're the ones that are listening to the music. They should be a part of this process. You know, they should be involved. They should have equity. These artists wouldn't exist without them, and vice versa. You know, artists give the energy, and fans give the gasoline. And I think we're noticing now like a big mental shift, and a lot of my friends and a lot of musicians hitting me up through Sound XYZ and through Good Karma and just through what I'm doing, like being like, yo, like I can do this. And I'm like, yeah, you fucking can. Like, just take the time to commit, because that's really the only thing, is it's just time. It's like, if you're willing to commit the time, it will work out. I promise. Like, we're so early in this that people don't realize that like most people don't hold NFTs. Most people don't hold crypto. And this stuff is going to continue to get more and more popular. You know, we're talking about 4% of the world having crypto wallets right now. 4%. Imagine if 30% did.
Yeah.
Imagine if 40%, imagine if that 10x, it will just continue to get more and more valuable. So just step in while it's still early, because this will be what people are doing. Like Good Karma Records will be one of 1,000 music label DAOs. I'm confident, because it just makes sense for a whole bunch of people to get together around a certain vibe that they connect with and be like, let's make this happen. Let's make this vibe happen. Let's make a train and say all aboard,
Do you ever see a scenario where so let's look at
Yes.
FWB, okay? Yes, 100%. Yes. Let's look at FWB for a second, okay? They got a capital infusion from Andreessen Horowitz, okay? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm just looking at FWB.
Oh, okay, cool. So they got a capital an investment from Andreessen Horowitz, okay? And it basically solidified the club like on a mainstream level, okay? Got a lot of headlines and whatnot. Do you imagine at some point Good Karma DAO getting some type of like similar investment from like a Universal Music Group or an Atlantic Records or a Sony working together in this DAO format? Or do you imagine them spinning off their own DAO and changing the way they kind of have been approaching, artist management, record labels for centuries, right? For what the standard is. You know
For
what I mean?
sure.
Like, how do you imagine that kind of unfolding?
It's a good question. I've been approached by VCs already, and the main thing that I've been steadfast on is I don't want any one entity to hold more than 5% of it, or else it defeats the purpose, you know? Um, so for me, I don't know if there's a world in which we would I would the simplest way to put it is I would be happy to help any major label or any indie label transition into a DAO structure. I just don't see a world in which that is going to happen anytime soon. Um, it's just such a different setup, and the priorities it feels are so different. I mean, the deals that artists get from major labels are just so ass backwards, compared to what I think they should be and what kind of deals we offer. Um, we never take a majority share of master or publishing, whereas most major label deals are, between like 60 and 80%.
Mhm.
Um, and I just don't know if I don't know if I'm correct. I feel like I'm correct in it. Um, but I also I don't know. Maybe there's some middle line. Maybe like we continue to offer more and more, and maybe they continue to offer less and less. I think that's kind of where the tipping point will be. I think labels will have to start asking for less and less from their artists, um, as artists realize that they can get the same level of support from their fans without giving up as much. Because labels are incredible. I mean, like my experience with labels has been awesome, and I've met so many amazing people at different labels that are in it for the right reasons. And they're not the ones that have anything to do with the shitty deals that artists are getting. So I
Yeah.
know that like systematically there's a lot of problems, but intrinsically there's a lot of good. Like at its core, music labels are helping artists get their music heard. And that's the main thing that we're interested in doing, is getting artist music heard and getting them paid for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, short answer, I don't see a world in which we collaborate with a major unless they were willing to adopt the same ideologies that are present in Web3. Um, but that being said, I would be more than happy to help them, and also just get their input on how they see that shaping, because they are giants, and they have done so much. Like for music. They are the music industry, you know, and so I think we have a lot to learn from each other. We're all out here in Web3, like still figuring out exactly what works and what doesn't. You know,
Mhm.
um, I think a lot of this is still very educational and preliminary, and we're going up against, you know, an industry that's been in place for almost 100 years. So they obviously have a lot of things right and that are useful. I just think that there has to be some redirection um of like how much they take from their
Mhm.
artists. And also, yeah, just like I just hear so many stories about artists like having their projects done and then their label won't let them put it out for
Yeah.
whatever reason. And like that to me is just ass backwards. You know, the only reason ever to do that is like if you want to make sure that that artist doesn't shoot themselves in the foot. Um, I just am never interested in telling someone when they can and can't put something out, you know?
Yeah.
Because I mean, we're all just sitting on so much shit because of like that just being ingrained. But
Yeah. Yeah. So let's wrap up with a couple questions here, okay? A new independent artist wants to get into crypto. Their first step, get into Good Karma DAO. Step number 1. Step number 2, what's next? Like, how do you get involved? How do you get started?
yeah,
And I'm asking it from a very like dumbed down point of view, right?
for sure.
For people who want to follow a path like yours, like Daniel Allen's, like Silencia, like Harrison First. The list goes on and on and on. Okay. How do you get
Yeah.
started?
So the biggest issue right now is that everybody wants to be uh integrated that I talk to now. That everyone is like, of course, like why would I not want to make $10,000 in 4 seconds? You know, that sounds fucking awesome. Um, the problem is like we're still a really small team. Like we don't have the whole world working on the back end yet, and it's a lot of work just to get these things going every time. So my biggest advice to anyone, um, at least that's an artist that's trying to get tapped into Web3 is start at Good Karma. Start in any community that is Web3 music centric. Good Karma is a great place to start. Um, but then tap into the discords of Sound XYZ, of Catalog. Introduce yourself, show your music, start being an active member and being helpful. And you'll find that people are more than happy to help you in return. Um, I think we're still in a super synergistic phase where people do have time. As busy as we all are, like I allocate time to helping people get into Web3, and I know that even the busiest people I know is Cooper still does this shit. You know, like everyone I know, regardless of how busy, is more than happy to help as long as you're willing to put in the time. Because it does require time and it does require attention, and it isn't cut and dry yet. You know, there still is a lot of legwork to do, and you have to be willing to do it, um, and be active. You know, everyone that I know in this space, it's become a huge part of their life, and it's interesting for me knowing that I had to give up part of being a creator of music right now to be able to facilitate other music creators and get them to a place where I felt that everybody was winning, because I haven't really been making music in like 4 months. I've maybe written like 3 or 4 songs, and I know that that won't last forever. I just feel like what I'm doing right now is super necessary to making sure that other people can do the same thing, you know, and can get in the space and start being as free as possible. Um, I care at least as much about that as I do about making my own music, is watching other artists flourish.
Love it, dude. Last question. What can we expect from Grady in 2022?
The moon. That's where we're headed. That's all I'll say for now.
All right.
We're going to the moon.
If you're listening to the audio, come watch the YouTube. You're the man. Thank you for being
Yeah, I
on.
love you. I'll see you at the next showcase.
You got it. I'll see you Thursday. Are you going to Daniel Ann's thing?
Yeah, of course.
All right.
You
See
kidding?
you
I'll be in the
Thursday.
front row with my bucket
Let's
hat on.
go.
Big legend.
All right, man. This was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you for your
I'm
time.
excited, dude. Also, I did want to talk about Citizens of San Gaspare and Spice DAO and the film DAO and all of that, but I know that you already have Spartan coming on,
Yep.
and
Yep.
so I know that he's just going to crush it.
Yep.
Yep. And we already had so much to talk about, but I am so excited. You guys have to tune in to listen to Spartan, one of my best friends, collaborator on that project. He is the brain behind it, an absolute genius. And I'm so excited for what he's doing and we're doing together.
I'm stoked to have him on. I'm glad for him to be on season 4. And Grady, we got to do this sometime again soon, in a few months once Cherry is complete, the songs are out, Good Karma is developed even more.
Thank you to everybody that is tapping into the Cherry crowdfund through this. I'm excited to have you in the group chat. And also, if you're not, thank you. I feel like by the time that you listen to this, there's a good chance that the first song's out. So I hope you like it. Thank you for listening and listening to me talk for an hour. And Adam.
Thank you. We'll see you soon.